I'm really fascinated with those little glimpses of life and the seemingly kind of mundane. That's the kind of thing that really gets me moving and gets me feeling something, and so that's why I try and capture it into a song. You know, empty train stations at night, or walking home under a streetlight in your hometown and it is completely empty. It's kind of those filmic moments that make me feel like I'm in my own little film, that I really try and capture.
It's been a long time coming, but obviously having written those songs such a long time ago, do you still feel like you relate to them now?
Yeah, definitely. But I think some of them, especially the older ones, it's kind of like looking back on old photographs and you're like, is that me? Is that really me? Because, you know, you grow up and you go through things and you're the same person, but you're a little bit different and you're a little bit changed. And but I do look back at the songs and think, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that's really important to me.
And you speak of that sort of cinematic, you know, you feel like you're in your own film, but you've covered a lot of ground on this and each of the tracks really paints a different scene. But when you went into making this EP, obviously you said you didn't know it was going to be an EP, but did you expect to come out of it having built an Isaac Stewart universe kind of thing? Okay, so we're at Marylebone, which is, you know,
We are?
where it all began for you. So tell me a little bit about the song in itself.
I spent a lot of time here at the station, and it was when I lived at home. I always used to get the train into London, so this station was kind of the physical embodiment of success in a way, because every time I'd get the train in, I'd get that buzz of like being in the city, and so it's got a really special place in my heart. And so from that feeling, I always wanted to write a song about that, about growing up on every train journey and every train journey back. I would grow a little bit more, and I had a lot of thinking time on the train, and I wanted to capture that essence and that sort of existential question of, oh, should I move from the hometown, or you know, I got so much wonder from London, and it used to make me so excited getting off the train here that, but then at the same time I love my hometown and that comfort blanket that it gives you. And so I just wanted to kind of capture that in a song. I love Marylebone Station. I don't know why it has. I've got an affinity to it. Like I say, coming here all the time, it just makes me feel. It gives me that spark inside that makes me want to do work and graft and makes me feel artistic. And so yeah, every time I come here, I'm reminded of growing and figuring it all out and successes and the failures and the rejections and whatever. It's a very special place that holds quite a lot of weight to me. So yeah, I love it.
I think that's the beauty of it, where people will resonate with moments in the EP or songs that you might not expect them to, and relate them back to their own themes in their own lives.
Yeah, totally. And that's kind of why I'm excited for it to come out, because I just want to hear people go, oh, I really relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, what you're talking about in Wouldn't Have It Any Other Way, I've felt that. I've been in that Uber, I know what you're talking about. It started in a session with a friend of mine, Paul Hammer. He was over from LA. We were in his Airbnb. But the original line was, I think now I'm crying in the train home.
Right.
On the train home. But then I was just thinking, well, I've talked about trains before, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about sort of post-night out vibes, but I loved the idea of setting a song in the back of an Uber, in the back of a cab on the way home after a night, and here we are in taxi, exactly. Yeah. So I just wanted to capture that, so that's why I changed it to the Uber line. But I wanted something dramatic like that. With this one in particular, we knew right from the beginning it was going to have that drum beat. Yeah, exactly, and it was going to be a bit more produced, and it was going to feel it's going to have the guitars that make it that sort of coming of age, sort of poppy, catchy vibe. That's what we wanted. But often I listen to demos after sessions, and I listen to them over and over again, and then we try and do other things to them, and I go, no, I like it how it was before. But saying that, the exciting part for me now as an artist is to write a song on piano, whether it's on my own or not, and have it produced. The sort of possibilities, the excitement is amazing. That's where I really get like a kid in a sweet shop.
Yeah.
You've got all this existential sort of, oh God, I'm really sad, and post-party sort of heartache. But at the crux of it, even though I'm crying in an Uber home, so the world feels like it's ending. Wink, wink, I wouldn't have it any other way. Exactly, that's exactly what we wanted. So I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're here. Are we here?
This is exactly where I want to get out. Chris.
Yeah, great. This is anywhere around here, mates.
If we jump out here.
Are we good? Yeah, shall we?
Nice one.
By the time this comes out, I would have played my kind of EP launch show at Camden Assembly. And
huge.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And it'll be the first time I'll have properly played all of the songs in one and more. But it'll be a really exciting time to see people in a room. Nothing beats it. Like, nothing beats being in a room with a load of people and playing your music and seeing the faces and seeing the eyes, and just, there is no better feeling. That's where the real stuff happens. That's why I'm doing it. That's the whole thing, is to do it in a room and to feel an audience and play live. That's the proper magic there for me.
Because it's such a difficult balance for aspiring musicians, because the amount of energy you'd have to put in to making music. So for you, that's a huge energy output. Is songwriting cathartic for you? Is it like a therapy session when you're writing?
Yeah, sometimes, I guess. But it can also be really hard and really unrewarding, because if you're writing a song and you think it's rubbish, then it's not gonna feel good. But I've been writing with other people as well over the past few years, which has been really amazing, and I really love that kind of collaboration, being in another room with a songwriter and a producer, and hearing sounds that I'm hearing, having them actually exist straight away in the session while I'm writing the song, and it can really feed into the process of writing and crafting the thing. But yeah, it can be cathartic, definitely. Depends on the song, depends on the day. Some songs come like that and you don't have to worry, it just spills out of you. And then other times it can take, a year, and you have to really graft at it and get down to the nitty gritty every few months, and it takes a longer process. So it does depend, but most of the time writing songs is what I love.
Yeah. So this track in itself it feels to me like the most heartfelt one. How was it writing a song this personal to you?
It took a while to sort of hash it out and get it into music, but some songs do take time, really. But I'm glad I wrote it. When I had the idea and I had the first line, and I know I fall in love with everybody that I walk past.
Yeah.
I just sort of said that one day and was like, that's going to be a line in the song. And I just thought from there, what does that mean and what's that about? And so it just sort of came together from there. But I'm glad it's one of those songs that after writing it, I looked at it and I listened to it and I thought, yeah, that's one of those songs that we were talking about, the kind of song being therapy.
Yeah, songwriting for therapy.
And I don't do that all the time. It doesn't feel like that all the time, but this one in particular,
it does
kind of tick that box. In our front garden we had a willow tree, and I used to just, during that period of kind of feeling rubbish all the time, it felt like it was raining every day, even if it wasn't, and I'd come back from work sometimes and I'd look out the window and see the tree, and it's always obviously been a very visual thing for me, the tree and the house, and it's a sort of statement piece of where I've grown up. And so I just kind of liked the idea of, I saw the willows tree sort of wilting, and I just thought, I feel like that. All my stuff is very based on real sort of moments, whether it's a tree or whether it's an Uber or a train station at night or a city skyline or whatever, or the central line. There are real elements in my life that I almost inflate into something more.
Yeah.
Whether it's theatrical, make it a little bit more theatrical, a little bit more poetic. I try and find those little seemingly kind of normal elements and make them a little bit more magical.
And so Skyline itself being your first body of work, that's obviously a huge step into artistry. Mm-hmm. What have you seen as the hurdles for you personally, both in music and in your personal life?
I mean, being an independent artist is kind of a hurdle in itself. It's a blessing as well sometimes, and obviously you hear all those stories about people that are signed, unsigned, whatever. Yeah. Everyone's journey is different, but being independent in itself is a difficult experience, because you're doing it kind of on your own and obviously at lower budgets, and I'm lucky enough to have a load of people around me that are great and facilitate my creative ideas and my music, and so I've had the opportunity to do the EP and I can get that out, and I'm excited about that. For me, it's been an amazing few years just finding friends, you know, that can do stuff like this and be able to, we're all in it together, you know, and I really cherish that and those relationships, and so it's been lovely to find those, and that's where you forget about the bad stuff, because you're just like, this is what it's all about. Mm-hmm. I really liked the idea of setting something in a hotel room and it being quite visceral and really feeling the kind of energy and aesthetic of that, and what that evoked, and how a hotel room, an empty hotel room with just on your own, how that kind of, what that would feel like after a relationship, basically.
Yeah, and so it feels like this song in particular, I mean, the whole EP is rife with metaphors, but this one in itself, what does the 13th floor and what's the hotel room, what do they represent for you in this song?
Well, to be honest, originally, I didn't really have, like, we didn't start writing it and go, let's write a song with a metaphor about a hotel room. It wasn't until we'd finished the song and actually started listening to it that I kind of realised that the 13th floor could almost be the place you go when you're grieving a relationship and you're lost and you're heartbroken, and that's where you end up, and your life suddenly, you every time you think about that person, you end up on the 13th floor, and that's kind of what it's become. But originally it was quite literally a story about being in this hotel room, and I almost thought about the hotel room being the place where maybe we first met, or the first time it happened intimately, or whatever, you know, that being the location, and then reflecting in that same location, or almost being taken back to that same place. Every time you think about them now, you're not together. It's the kind of battle between me sort of figuring out who I am while falling in love with both London and her, and that whole kind of story, all summed up in a nice little neat sort of city story.
Really pushing these metaphors in the last couple of
Yeah, I guess it's how I see the world, I guess. I think that's it. I think it's because I see life like that.
Yeah, and it feels like that's such a running theme across the whole thing. Yeah, across the whole EP. That's what we've talked about a lot today, in that those small moments feel like so much more to you, so you can build a huge story, a huge painting out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm playing my 2 headline shows in April coming up, which I'm really excited about. And then from there, more of everything, more songs, more shows. I just love playing live and that connection and writing. I just want to do more of it all. Yeah. And just see more places and tell more stories.
And go global. Make these moments across the world.
Go global.
That's what you need.
Thank you so much.
No, it's been an amazing chat.
It's been so much fun.
Can't wait for the world to hear this and see this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.